We want to lead us in prayer.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit. O God, bless the Hungarian settlement and our historical society. Give us the strength and perseverance to fulfill our mission, to preserve the old Hungarian school building as a museum to honor our ancestors. As we move forward, we ask your direction and guidance in all that we do. Allow us to work in unity and harmony and administer the museum according to your will. We ask your blessings on our country, our leaders, and our armed forces to preserve our freedoms we all enjoy. For this we pray. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
for liberty. First order of business.
We ask if anybody is joining us by Zoom.
Yes,
Two.
we have Fred Seal and we have Julie.
Joanne Sabori Cheslock.
Joanne.
Jewel
And Tesla.
Julian, one of our founders, keyboard and support of lives in Springfield, Virginia.
Oh, very nice.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Get her name on the list.
It's good to be here. Good to see you all.
We're very happy to join you.
Thank you.
Well, we can.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and introduce.
I see Alex and Royanne there, looking good.
So
Okay, and we will introduce everybody else to you. They will introduce themselves to you, Julian.
I'm sorry.
We will.
he's gonna have everybody introduce themselves.
Oh, okay.
Carl Dillon, President.
I'm Julia Orso, Vice President.
I'm Dave Bodie, just board member.
I'm Annette Bodie, secretary.
I think she saw Dave.
Yes.
Dave's right here, so I don't know why she wouldn't see him.
Over there.
Okay, Judy.
And Alex,
Okay, Judy.
Judy McIntyre.
I'm Dorothy Nellie.
And nice to meet you.
Wood.
I'm Joe Wood.
Nice to meet you.
Glad you're with us.
I'm Fred Seal, that's board member.
Right.
A good looking group of Hungarians there.
Yeah, I'm hungry, but my wife is full blood.
I'm in the same situation, Fred. I don't have a drop in me, but my husband's full. So if we look at the agenda, because you did call us to order, the first item is the vote on the board of directors for 2022 through 2025. We had ballots mailed out to 55 members, and we have in our possession 21 ballots. They were unanimous for the board. They were all yeses. So I don't know if we need a motion to accept this with these ballots. I don't know, Carl?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to, I guess.
Yes.
They just to say his name for office. I could, but I'd like to. I move that we accept the ballots.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, so the,
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. So that bit of business is over with.
the next is the financial statement. And we will have Royanne go first and Dave go second.
Financial report for April 2022. And as you know, we're always like 1 month behind because that's not a month behind, but that's the way that bank statements go. We had two accounts. We have the general account and then we have the brick account. The general account with a previous balance of $29,189.85. With 3 credits, $585 even, and 9 debits for $544.54, and I will enumerate those in a bit. And with an ending balance of $29,230.31. Anyone with a question on that? Then we go to the brick account. The previous balance was $11,573.99. We had no credits, no debits, and so it remains the same ending balance of $11,573.99. Expenditures. $75 monthly service for the CPA, $32.95 custom security systems for the museum, $17.34 for Summit Water Company for the museum, $70 lawn care for museum lawn service, $54 US Postal Service for the PO Box 1909, and that is for a year. We had utility, Entergy utility for $255.99. And by the way, that's not very high for right now. We had $19.07 sales tax, state of Louisiana at 5%. With $17 sales tax, Livingston Parish at 5%. Then we had $3.19 USPS, it was cookbook shipping from Albany on the credit card. We just got a notation, a letter rather from Albany. They just had an election and they upped their, was it sales tax? They passed a half-cent sales tax. And guess what, folks? We're there, we got a half-cent more to pay on everything that we sell. As of, I guess, then, they didn't give us a starting date, so I guess. So anyway, that is the financial report for April 2022. Any questions, comments? And that is the report finished. I sent them, by the way, on email to everyone today. I sent it today because of the meeting today. So you should have one in your computer mailbox.
We're ready to set.
Yes, so could someone make a motion to accept? I'll make a motion to accept the financial report as read. And a
I'll
second.
second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Dave Bodie.
I'm going to give you a financial report on the overall museum and through April 2022. This is going to be 4 months worth of data. And I'll also give you a budget and how we compare to the budget that we submitted in the beginning of the year. So when you look at the ending balances of April 30th, 2022, we had total cash and checking and savings of $40,804. We had current assets of $43,999. You say, well, what are current assets? That's inventory books. That's everything that we have that we either sell. That's what's referred to as that basically inventory. And that's only about $3,000 worth because most of that is checking and savings. We had fixed assets of $508,000. And that is the building and the improvements, which are basically leasehold improvements. The building's owned by the parish, and we own all the leasehold improvements. And all that money had come into us and been distributed basically from grants from the parish to build the building. So our total assets at the end of April were $552,600. Our total liability, which is nothing but sales tax payable to the state and to the parish and city, is $53 for our total liability. So our total equity is $9,282. And our total retained assets from previous years is $442,000. We had net income through the first 4 months of this year of $403. And it gives us total equity of $552,653. And equity and obviously and liabilities equal to our assets. So when you look at basically our April, first 4 months of this year, April through 2022, we had $5,246 in total income. That's collections, sales, donations, dues, everything that came in 4 months. We had $4,842 in total expenses for the 4 months. And so we had basically a $403 net income, which is what I reported earlier. So when you look at that, total income was really under budget where we projected by some $460. But fortunately, our expenses were under budget about $1,260. So overall, we came out with a net income when we were projecting a little bit of net loss in the budget itself. So when you look at the net income, we had budgeted around about $662 in a loss position. And we actually are really in a position where we're over income by what I said, the $403 net income instead of loss. So that gives you kind of an overall perspective of the first 4 months of operation. We're very much in budget. You know, one of the items that's included in our budget that we will talk about next is really the cost, if any, associated with, we are forced to produce a new website this year because the website that we are on is no longer going to be supported. It's a very old technology and that company is phasing that technology out. So it's not by our choice. We're going to have to face going with a new website. That cost is built into the budget, but we haven't seen any of that cost because we're still not sure what all that's going to accomplish, what all that's going to actually be. So really, that's just kind of a brief view of the budget, where we stand. We're in pretty good shape. We're actually collecting more money than we're receiving. That's always good to hear. And it's given us a little bit of what I would call buffer room. So if we do have a few bad months, we have enough accumulated income to offset those bad months. So we're in pretty good shape right now, considering where everything is and what we just gone through with COVID and everything else that we were all facing during this. So we're really, God blessed us to get through this whole process in pretty good shape. So with that, next item.
Okay, so there's no motion on that. That was just an update. The next, now we move into business. And the first topic is the website.
And the possibility of going with 3 different directions on this. I think our first order of business for the website is, I've done a number of them in the past, and for a nonprofit or an organization such as us to have a private site and a public site. Private site that we as members can sign in, post pictures of our trips to Hungary, whatever, or converse with each other in private. And then on the public side, everything we want to post about the museum, dealing with the DOC schedule, that kind of stuff and all. It's,
Wouldn't you think the dosing schedule would be private, not public?
well, maybe not. You know, somebody might be saying, well, I want to come out and see Dorothy on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Anyway, everything that we have on it now has been backed up, has been removed and backed up. It's ours. It's our intellectual property. It is ours. All the coding is there. Likewise, the actual website itself has been backed up as it is in the original format, meaning that even though we pulled all the files out, and each one of them is saved, each photo is saved, each document is saved, we also saved the whole website. So going forward, we have that historical rebuild that we can do.
Technically, the engine behind the website that we have is going out of existence. So
Right.
we cannot run this website on that engine.
Agreed,
So we have it backed up with pictures and information and data,
right.
but the code for all that is proprietary, and that's what's going away.
I've gone out and explored, GoDaddy. GoDaddy has templates free. We can pick a template, and all through what we do, as many pages as we decide to have, it'll have the same look and feel, meaning the same controls in the same spot, same hotspots, the same whatever. And we can load our photos, we can make our different pages, to indicate different things.
Are we able to keep the same domain site?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
we own the domain site.
We're already with GoDaddy on that. The original company was with GoDaddy.
Yeah, GoDaddy's a register.
And we have them for what, 2 more years?
Yeah, I think we renewed it for 2 years the last time.
Typically, you renew it 2 or 5 years. And it's not that expensive, just come on, fellas, to do the 5 years versus the 2 years. But the development of it, Stephen Good, Dorothy's son, is willing to do all the programming, all the setting up. All we have to do is come up with what we want on it. Do we want to put each one of our stations in a museum out there? Do we just want to do a few? Do we want to, I like what I call teasers. I'd like to have a teasing page that I could set up every month. When I come in and do Dosey, I could take the horse side of the museum, where we have a little display of the horseshoe and all, and do a big article and put it on the front page of the website. Next month, come in and do maybe that map in the back. Or the following month, do something else, so that we have it's changing to make people come out and look at the website.
What I think we need to focus on right now, here and now, is maybe not design, but we need to have a platform. Is that the right word? We need to have a platform. So we need to decide, okay, GoDaddy's one. We have a nonprofit. I built our website and I know absolutely nothing about it. And that's on Wix.
Right.
And we interviewed or asked opinions or did research into it. And actually someone else suggested for nonprofits, the first one should be Squarespace. So we have right now 3 platforms that we are deciding on, and we need to, I think, vote on a platform. The design, yeah, I think all that stuff is great. But that's design. We just need to know, right now we need to secure who's going to, how
How
we're
much
gonna.
does Wix and how much what do they cost?
I think I don't know. I didn't do the cost on it. I had given you
No.
the top 10 rated website.
Right,
GoDaddy's not in the top 10, so I didn't even look at GoDaddy because of that. But they're going to range about $300 a year to $400 a year to host the website.
all of them do.
Yeah, so they're going to be in that neighborhood. Here's the challenge. I don't know whether we're not going to be able to probably vote on this today, and this is something the board can take on independently, and we don't need a membership meeting to approve it. So I want to make sure that's clear. But with the website, you have what's called development work. That's the programmer. That's the people who do the work. They do that one time, and then that has to be maintained. In other words, just this past, let's say 6 weeks, we took our website and we added this meeting to it. We added the ballot and the proxy so people could get to it from the website. We added the news segment so you could click on Zoom and get to this meeting from the website. That's maintenance. In other words, the website is going to constantly have small things done. You know, Roy Allen called me and said, look, we made a decision to discount the cookbook. So it's not anymore $15. It's now going to say $10. And so PayPal has to be changed. All that has to be maintained. That's maintenance of the website. Then you have what Annette said, the platform itself. is a platform, GoDaddy's, or Wix, or one of that. Those are hosting. That's the real background we don't see, but you have to have a robust website so that when people click on it, it comes up. And it's available and it's not down. I mean, I don't know how many of you have tried to go to something and it says the website's not available and you get an error that you can't get to it. You need a reputable hosting agent. And all those, all three of them we talked about are very reputable. So you have all these components to the website other than just developing the website. That's the very front end piece. Then you have maintenance, you have hosting. And so we have all those things, unfortunately, to consider because our current vendor, which is Legends out of Ponchatoula, has been extremely good to work with us. Very much developed the original site, but that platform that they're doing, they're not going to host it anymore and they're not going to keep it. And they recommend going to something like Squarespace or Wix. They recommend Squarespace because it gives us more flexibility if we're going to have sales, online sales like books and merchandise. They do a better job than Wix does. Wix does a little bit better job on nonprofit templates than Squarespace. So we have all these things to consider. We have to make that decision. This goes out of existence the end of this year. So we're getting really in a critical time period to get it done. Now, they're not going to unplug us. I've talked to them. No, we're not going to unplug you. You just don't have service. You know, we'll keep it up and you're going to still have your website in January, February. We're going to work with you. We're not going to unplug the plug on you, but we can't support it anymore if you want to add to it or if you have issues or maintenance. And so that's really what we're facing. I think we talked as a group, the fine, you got an error here, what do you say? No. Anyway, we talked as a group. We really need what's called membership data. And we need something that we really can easily get to our members and who is a member, what's the mail out, what's their email address, what's their cell number if they want to get it to it. Do they want to get marketing stuff from us? Do they want to get newsletter? Can they opt out of that? Anytime you get something sent to you as a feed, you have to give them by law a opt out, an unsubscribe. And so if we've got members, we don't have a place to keep all that. Roy has part of it manually and written down. I think Carl has some of it in the database. We've got it scattered. And so when we address the website, do we address the back end? I call that the back end as well. Because websites are for public, the private would be more the back end, the database, the memberships. Right. How you become a member, you enter your data, you pay you do all that online, if that's what we desire to do. So we have all those things to consider in the website. If we're going to do the minimum, we're going to do it all, or we're going to somewhere in between. So there's a lot going on there that we need to decide on.
One of the big things about it is we can start small and increase. We can start with the public right now and add the private at a later time.
Okay, what Dave is saying, he's gonna be maintaining all of this. You got to have someone to make sure everything's updated on the computer and current.
That's
For
right.
example, and let me give you an example. I tried to add some information both to our news and events section of our current website that gave the Zoom link, put the proxies out there so people could get to it. And I ran into issues. Well, I emailed Legends. Legends came back to me, within 2 hours and said, here seems to be the issue. Let me take a look at it. I sent them some stuff. They took a look at it. They came back and said, I've got that corrected. You don't have the proper access to do that. And I now granted you access to have the authority to do it now. And so all this is interaction. That's what I call support. So anybody we have developed the website, they've got to be on call to be able to answer questions. And if we have an issue, they got to be able to correct it pretty quickly. It's not like we're a bank or somebody that you got to do it that day. I'm not talking about that, but probably within a reasonable day or two, we have to address those things. And that's one of my concerns, that whoever develops it has to be able to maintain it.
Yeah, we have to have someone available to
Oh, yeah,
maintain and add to or delete any changes.
right.
Like ours, I'm on it almost daily, maybe not every day, but I'm in there changing, adding. We have playlists, we have videos, we're changing it 3 or 4 times a week. And so the person's gonna have to be committed to doing those changes. I don't think that the Hungarian Museum will be as active as our site is, but you do need somebody that's willing to do it all the time. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say something about the square, what was that again, square what?
Space.
Square.
Space.
Space. I kind of like what I hear about the square space because it sounds like it would be easier for us to use. And maybe we could get more things on it, something about daily things that we would have on it. Sales. Things like that.
I like Carl's ideas about teasers and things. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, if you call, put those teasers on like for once a month, take care of that. That would be Squarespace.
That's one, yeah. one.
That's one of them. There's so many out there, really.
So I guess that's just the information on the website. We're not making a vote today. Does anybody have something else that they would like to talk about or ask about the website?
I might add this, that Livingston Parish Tourist Commission kind of indicated that they might give us some funds toward this. I mean, not thousands of dollars, but if we ask for a decent amount, they could probably give us the money.
That's great.
And I have not looked back into it, and I will.
I'm not sure if our maintenance is gonna be that involved.
Right. I
3 or
don't,
4 times a week, maybe 3 or 4 times a month. You know, Stephen and I talked about maintenance, and with my backup and his support, you know, that is his degree. He's very good at it.
Does he have a company name?
No, he's teaching students right now, and then he works at a gaming, he does the gaming thing up here at the corner. He's a big gamer. So his interest in computers is more of
a
a,
way to eat.
more of a, yeah, he's, yeah. And, you know, I've taught computers all my life. I've worked on them all my life. I've designed many a website. And of course, when I started out, everything was line code.
I think you're pretty well committed and maybe overcommitted. I mean, handling too many things. And so I'm wondering if that's a job that you need to take on. I mean, even like the database, I wanted to send out a last minute email and you probably didn't even see it yet, but I sent you it last night asking,
Yeah,
to send out.
I didn't check his email. I didn't check my email.
So that's kind of a problem for some of the business and that, you know.
If our website is down and you don't respond or Stephen doesn't respond, we're dead. And your websites do go down because you made a change, you didn't know it, and it goes down, you can't do anything. You're gonna have to be, there has to be somebody who's gonna be able to do something fairly quickly. Not always, it may not happen at all, or it may happen only once, or may not, we don't know that. The other side of it is whoever we have, even if they do it gratis, free, that's great. But we're gonna need to have something, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, in writing. We're publicly putting something out for the public. We gotta be careful about infringement on copyright. We can't use stuff on our website that infringes. We may even have to file for copyright on something we do. When you get into intellectual properties, and the ownership of intellectual properties when it comes to technology, you can get in deep really, really, really quick. And so you need to make sure whoever develops it has the wherewithal to say that they're not going to breach any call it copyrights when they build it. They're not going to breach any intellectual property issues that we make, because the fact is we have a Bible study on Friday morning, and the guy really is he's a geologist, super guy, super knowledgeable, but he's very careful on every picture he puts on the website, that he makes sure that if there's a copyright, that's there so you can see it. Because you don't know, if you put a picture up on the website and someone has copyrighted it, they can sue us. And even though we're a nonprofit and the board's protected with officers and director liability, they can come after whatever we have. We don't have a whole lot, so I'm not sure they would approach it. The problem with technology is intellectual property rights. You have to be careful, and copyright. Those are all issues you have to be careful of. And so whoever develops it, as long as they're knowledgeable of that and they can give us a guarantee that they're not infringing on any of those things that we have. And I'm gonna give you an example is you can add something to your website that you copied off the internet, and it gives you the capability of showing that cool video. And you got it off the website, but it wasn't free. And the next thing you know, you're being sued because you're using that technology. So it's just all those things, while you don't want to bog down with all that. It's just stuff that you have to be aware of. That's the main thing. So there's a lot of moving parts here. We're not going to resolve any of that today. It's just we want the membership known. That's what we're faced with. We've got some work ahead of us. We've got some planning and decisions to make.
I have a suggestion. When we put something on there, we should look for copyright, put copyright and the date, who's copyright. We should put that.
If it's got a copyright, we're obligated to do that. We're obligated to do it.
Right, we need to do that.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
Okay, I think my only concern of the good fellow is that he's got another occupation. If he's busy with all that, and as Dave said, a problem arises that needs to be taken care of pretty quickly, and if he's very involved in something else, is he gonna be able to get to it?
And Carl says he would be available. That's his backup, and if that's the case.
Well, that kind of answers
Right.
Because I know
And I
Mr.
want
Good
y'all-
has
I
a,
want y'all to be aware. I'm starting to back away from some of my stuff.
yeah, that's probably good for you. because you are-
Well, we want to travel.
But I know that Mr. Good hasn't been available for a meeting at all this year even. So we haven't been able to, so he is extremely busy.
So what they saying, it's not gonna be available for the website. You can't make.
I'll wake him up in the morning.
I think he might be great for development, but maybe he's not the one to do to me.
Right, might not be the meeting.
Well, but whoever develops it,
Has to understand
they
it.
have to understand it. I'm gonna tell you, I've been there.
it. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I know.
So anyway, we're not actually voting on anything. This was just information, and the board will have to
Just
tackle.
This is all good discussion to bring out any
I
issues
think,
or
I think our next,
misunderstandings or.
the next thing I want to do is lock down prices,
Okay,
okay?
I will do that. I will.
Lock down prices. All 3 or 4 top ones. And then, and what's free. What templates are there, what's available, and how easy it is to use. I'm partial of one because of how easy it is. I've not used the others yet. You know what? I went out and looked at it just now. And I don't normally do this on my phone, but I went out and looked. And it gives me a free 30-day trial with no credit card required. So I may go out and play with it a while. I may make a phantom website, as it's called, You go out and play with it and see.
Yeah,
But
these are all decisions I totally agree that we need to make, and it's, like I said, we have a little bit of time, but we're running out of time.
6 months.
It concerns me. The point that I want to make, and I'm not trying to be unkind. Free is not always free. I've been involved with churches, we own our own nonprofit, we do a lot of stuff. I've been involved with 2 churches where we had somebody develop the church stuff. And then they left the church membership. And guess what? We were left in the cold and had to spend thousands of dollars to try to get somebody in to recover the data because they left the church, right? We had no contract with them. It was all gratis, it was all free, but it wasn't free in the end when we needed it. And so having that experience, I've got a little bit of, when I say cautiousness or reservation.
Well, it's
Right.
not proper, we have to be cautious. of
You,
what we
you,
do.
you have to be, because people, if you're not paying somebody, they may not be committed to you. And if they're not committed to you, then all of a sudden you're faced with scrambling, trying to get it done. And I'm not saying that would happen. I'm just saying that's happened in a church.
Yeah.
It happened in a church. It happened in the Hungarian Museum as well.
So that's really good discussion on the website, but you might want to move on to the next topic for information purposes, obtain the videographer or talk about the videographer.
correct. If no one else has, I've got a videographer. He is very good at what he does. And he likes working with nonprofits. And he is agreed to do our work free. He may require just a little bit of gas reimbursement because the electrons that he's going to use today with the electronic videography, we may have to buy a memory card or 2. Okay, but the rest of it is we pay a little. He's up in he's almost in Jackson, Mississippi. The only reason he's not here today is he's undergoing a procedure. He was going to come down and visit. He has cancer of his right leg bones. They removed 9 inches below the knee, about 10 inches above the knee, in the knee, and they put all artificial in, and he's now up walking on his leg with his rebuilt parts. But having said that, he's going through some minor issues. Greg's his first name. He's excited. He wants y'all's ideas of what you think we should do. I talked to Mr. Alex earlier. I recommended that we use him 2 ways. We do an actual documentary about the museum and background in our everything dealing with Hungarian settlement. And then we make 5 or 6 small advertisement type 1 to 2 minute videos that we could give to the local TV station or the local whatever to get, to show at the local history class at the university or whatever over at LSU over here at Southeastern to get an interest in them coming out. And my ideas on this, when I make something like this, I want it to be enough that it makes them wonder, what are they missing? What do I need to come see? That's where the bird's gonna come in that window one.
And a red one?
Yeah, they got a nest over there. She's coming up and she's grabbing bugs off the window.
I think it's Channel 8, they have what they call particles. And this guy goes out to different areas throughout the museum and shows things that people don't know are out there.
Yeah,
I think the only requirement he has, in coming out and helping us, is that he would like to have a byline.
Here's the real thing that led to all this, and so I want to not overlook that. The people that have the knowledge is not gonna be here forever. And we better capture this somehow. Otherwise, we're not gonna have it. And so the issue here, while I agree with Carl 100% on these little things we need to do, the underlying thing here is we need to get Alex's knowledge, and we need to go through all this and get that recorded someplace so we have it. You know, the fact is, even our docents are getting up in age, and they may or may not be able to do it. And so my concern is the fact that we're gonna lose this knowledge because we don't have any young people coming in this organization.
We need to get young people.
Well, we've been trying it out for, I think,
We'll
for
talk
6
about
years.
that. We're gonna, let's save that discussion. It's
Yeah.
coming up a little bit.
Okay, we'll save that discussion. Anyway, my point is, let's get this down somehow.
I agree with you 100%.
No, I agree, Carl, those are great ideas, and if we can get a guy to do it, that would be beautiful.
I tell you, one of my husband's cousins recorded his mother. She's sitting there, she's eating her gumbo in her French accent, asking her all these different questions about the past, her growing up, and just everything about it. And it's just so amazing to have all that knowledge, which I
know.
think that's what you're referring to, something like that.
Yeah.
A very casual
Right.
thing of talking
So we
about.
need to get a plate of Keithley's and sit in front of Alex and ask him questions.
One
Wait.
one comment that we do have 8 videos that we did a few years back. And they could be used on TV as well.
Those are YouTube, and I think it was a radio, a TV station that did that.
No, we paid the road grant
Oh, we did.
$9,000, they made it. I gave you one of these little slips of paper. I got this today from Carl Clark Forrest. And there's a website on here.
I'm trying to enter it.
I encourage you to look at that website. It's got some wonderful things of people talking about, if we don't hurry up and record these things, they're not gonna be here. History is for us and for those that come after us, and we need to do the history.
That's in Michigan.
Look at this website. Yes, it's in Michigan.
Yeah.
It's a long way from us, but it would
It
serve our.
wouldn't let me go in on it when I tried entered it
Oh,
on
I
my
got it.
phone. So maybe computer at home I could get on it.
I got it. I got it
Because
today.
I just tried it before the meeting started.
Okay, so let's move on. We'll go to the next information. Again, that wasn't something we're voting on. The next one is also not something we're voting on, but just an update or an overview of building maintenance that's been going on.
So maintenance in regard to.
Just the building, just things we have going, the ramp, I mean, you're putting in ramps, things.
Concerning the ramp, I have 3 bids here, and I don't know, shall we go ahead and just talk about them?
The board will be doing the voting. You can just kind of make people aware, the membership aware of what we're trying to do.
Do you want me to give you some money prices here?
You can, yeah, you can share those.
Okay, Sam Bourgeois, he's one of our locals, he lives right down behind the museum on James King Road. He gave us a bid for $3,900. The only problem with that is that he doesn't do the rails. We have these metal rails that need sand and repainting. He doesn't do that. So if we took him, we'd probably be talking about $5,000, which we have the money for. A&E maintenance would do it for $3,745. We buy the paint. He would do the rails. They claim they would do a good job. Concrete, dirt, and demolition would do it for $4,205.20. I've had difficulty with concrete, dirt, and demolition. It's very hard to get a hold of them. I finally got a bid out of them, and I tried to call them back after that, but I never could get them. So, but these are the 3, and that's what they look like.
Okay, and the board will be voting on that. And then I know that we had power washing scheduled. I'm not sure if it happened or it's still going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Okay, so that's how we're taking care of the building. Okay, so we have power washing, upkeep of that. We had a drainage issue and we're working on a swell, correct?
Right, and as the weather gets drier, hopefully we can finish that swale up and get the water running away good. Well, we have a constant deal with DEQ, state of Louisiana. They are really serious about the water that might drain away from our septic system. We're not on city sewage, as you well know. So we put very little effluent out in that ditch, but they won't charge us. I think it's maybe the cheapest price would be $135. It may really go up.
What, a year?
A year.
It's $180 a year.
Yeah, okay, 180. I think we have to pay less for it. No, but Carl may ask to do that. Ask
Any
him.
comments?
Or questions from Zoom?
Comments or questions?
No. I'm okay. I'm listening.
Okay,
All right.
That sounds good.
okay.
Maybe I don't understand. They're wanting to charge us to treat our ditch. They're wanting to charge us just because we may be putting effluent out.
Let me explain what it is. The EQ says we have over at the museum wants that much money per year because we empty our sewage into that front deep ditch. But our sewer system is huge. And as much as we use it, open twice a week.
As little as we use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would take us 10 years to put one drop out in that ditch.
Mhm.
But they still charge us $180 a year just to be able to put water in that ditch. So we're trying to work with them to see if we can have something that they told us. I talked to them on the phone. They said we could close off that line that goes out to the ditch, just shut it down. We would owe nothing. But the problem is, what if something goes wrong with that and we shut it off? Maybe our system doesn't work well. Does it have to have that pipe going up that main ditch? Or, that's one of the big things we're dealing with. So we could save $180 a year if we could do that.
We really can't do that. We might add that to it. Before we were even approved for that sewer system, I had to draw a map of where every drop of water is going to run, go down the edge of the creek, run into Blood River, run into the Tickfall River, go into Lake Marpaw, finally into Lake Pontchartrain. Believe me, I had to do that. And so they're looking out and trying to guard all the waterways around here, especially Lake Pontchartrain, a very big lake that runs out into the Gulf.
And they use it for fishing too.
So we'll do the best we can with them, but I don't think we can avoid paying.
Now, you don't have public sewer out here, you know,
No.
well, so that's not an option, but they're cooked up to them, it's gonna be a lot more expensive than $180 a year, so. That's cheap,
Yeah.
if how we look at it.
Is there any other maintenance issues, the roof or anything like that that you want to tell people about?
Up in the ceiling,
Well,
we got that covered.
the school board, owns this building, and so we rely on them for any maintenance that they can do. And so they have, I mentioned that at the last meeting, they have come out and put some glue up there or something on the roof, and it has worked on a previous leak that they did, and I think it's working on this one too. Carl is gonna paint the inside, and then we can see if any further leakage has happened. So
I have
Carl,
the
maintenance.
paint that hides the
The kills.
mold, the kills, paint. I have a couple gallons of it that don't need to be.
Okay, the next item is talking about the historical marker, if you just want people to be aware of that.
Okay, I did talk back to Eric Edwards, the Tourist Commission Director, and he says they're working on it. On the historical marker, that thing is turned sideways.
Oh, yeah.
That the hurricane twisted it around, and maybe it did. But I very regularly get a hold of him and ask him where we are, and it's time to do it again.
Yeah, and for those that may not be familiar with the discussion, that's the marker that's out on the interstate that shows that the Hungarian Museum is on this exit, and it's deplorable. We don't own it.
It's 40 years old. I
Yeah,
think.
and so it needs to be redone, and Alex is trying, that's what he's trying to get redone.
A new one, a brand new one would cost $3,600.
Whoa.
And so, anyway, I'm not sure how we could, renovate that thing. You would have to, it's kind of an embossed type thing. The letters stick out, they're raised up about 1/4 of an inch. So you would have to go in there and paint the background and then paint the letters. There are companies, I'm sure, that would do that. I don't
The way they do it originally is they pour it and then they run a machine over top of it like this table. And they cut the top off and then they come back and they paint it all. And then they come back and sand on top of that
Well,
and
yeah,
expose the letters.
that's, I'm sure that would work. And even that would cost money, so I'm not sure where Mr. Edwards is planning to go. And they too are operated by a board. I think they have 9 or 10 members now. And so whatever they decide, yay or nay, they will do it.
That's what we want. Okay.
And I'm gonna keep working.
The brick orders, how's the brick garden going? And
Well, the bricks right now, the orders are coming in pretty slowly. We are going to, as soon as we get enough bricks to order, we will. Only thing is, we cannot just hold it and try to get 50 orders at one time because it's cheaper that way. But when people pay $100 for a brick, we can't let them just sit for a couple of years until we have enough. So what we will do, we'll take a cut in there, take a hit, so to speak, and rather than have a certain amount that if they'll charge us more for fewer brick orders, but we are taking orders right now.
okay, so now that just is the information of the business that the board's been working on throughout the year so far this year. So now there's any new business that somebody wants to talk about.
This is where you wanted to bring up new, younger people into it?
This is
where
the-
you wanted to bring that?
This is where we talk. I think Dorothy, you can mention or address.
I do not have any idea how we can get younger people, because I'm trying to get my son to be a member, and the only thing I can suggest is when we have the Hungarian harvest dance, get those young people involved
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
at the Hungarian harvest dance, even though there's not that many. We've got a couple of you guests, you want them to introduce them to the ones on Zoom?
So,
Yeah.
Fred, you'll be happy to see that Julius just came in. So
Oh,
here's
hey.
Julius. Fred, this is Fred Seal saying hello to you. Fred
Fred Seal.
Seal.
Yeah, how you doing,
And-
Julius?
Okay. So Julius is joining us. He lives out of this area right now. So we're excited to see him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
continue on with new members.
He was done.
Oh, young members. Anybody else? Something they've,
One of the things I discussed with Stephen was trying to design this website in such a way, and maybe even adding to the Facebook to attract our younger minded individuals. He's got a couple ideas.
actually, he'll probably say that young people aren't even gonna look at Facebook.
Right.
Now you have to have TikTok or Instagram or some other thing, but
Right.
because his grandkids, which are like late teens, early 20s, are like, I don't even have a Facebook. That's for old people. So,
Agreed.
so
Agreed.
technology, we keep moving on.
And I don't think it's on TikTok because of its background.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah,
Understand, folks. I used to work in cyber warfare for the government. I do nothing on my phone. For me to even look at my website a minute ago is unusual. That's the most vulnerable thing we have right there.
Well, back to the new membership, I think we almost have to kind of sit down and screen what's in this community And there are very good prospects right here in the local area. And I think we would have to approach them one by one and see what they can do.
Just invite them to meet.
Or have a meeting somehow, write them in advance, telephone them, but encourage them to come out to a meeting.
Okay, that's something that we can continue to discuss.
If we have a crowd event, cleaning the grounds, washing the building, we announce it to the young folks correctly. However, we go over to the college and walk in and say, we're having this, can you get it out? We might be surprised at what comes out. They don't mind being involved to do something. They don't like coming to meetings. They don't like being a member. They don't like paying dues. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
Being honest. Having been a professor at 2 universities at failing organizations because they didn't want to be part of the organization.
So we'll have to brainstorm on that and continue. Anybody with ideas, probably submit them. Any other new business? Anything else somebody knows?
I'm thinking of something like this, of inviting Montreal Marketing to come down here. You know, they're a fairly large distributor or seller of sales of Hungarian products. They handle the Hungarian paprika and Hungarian cooking things. They even sell teepees and collage. But they are known for going around. In fact, we had them down here about 4 years ago. And at that time, we could have them in an open house and let people come into the museum and let people buy their products. And it might take a year to get them down here, but I think that's another direction we ought to go into.
That's really
That
good.
was a real good occasion when we had a meet and greet. That was real good because we had a Hungarian band that came in there.
Well, now the
Can you
band,
market their product on our website?
we
do.
they're a link on our website.
Or they're a link, I'm saying, we could
No.
probably.
That's another place where the website could go.
Right, okay.
Also,
would-
Venda is another place that we have ordered Hungarian products to.
Well, they're a link on there.
They're a link, they're also on our
Right.
website.
What I'm saying is those links are okay, but that's, if our website, if people came to this website to buy the paprika, or came to this website to buy the stuff, and we're not pointing them to somebody else, because once you point them to somebody else, now we lost them. Right,
We need
right. So all that stuff we can look at it.
Our cemeteries are also on our website. And for the genealogists, they would have a real field day looking at our cemeteries.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
And our Presbyterian Church and Catholic Church are on there. And we're not getting full use out of our website because it's there. You have to pull it out sometime
I agree.
and show them the big picture.
Right.
You can pull up any name and it will show the headstone, it will show everything. And people.
I think that each one of us could approach someone in our family. It doesn't have to be one of our children. It could be one of our brother-in-law's children or something, and approach them about the organization and what we're trying to do. And we might get some attention from family members like that.
Did everybody hear Fred? You all heard? Okay.
Yeah, and Fred, I think that is a great idea. If each one of us brought in one additional person,
Right.
and we challenge again, each one of us bring in one additional person. That's how you grow. That's how you grow any organization. It's from the inside out. We can do mass marketing and do all that, but when it's personal, like you said, one-on-one, they come in, we challenge them to bring somebody in, and that's the way it works. But again, I like your idea. That's very, very, very good.
I think it would work if each one of us approached some family member, child or niece or nephew, and get them involved in the association and make them feel part of it.
What about approaching like the middle schools? When I was in ninth grade, we had Pennsylvania history. The whole course was Pennsylvania history. Do you have a Louisiana history that's taught in the 8th or 9th grade? Have it be a project for them to, students, if the teacher, especially if the teacher was Hungarian background would be great, but have them have projects maybe for the students to earn extra credit. It would have to be nearby, of course, but that they could come in and be aware of what was going on with the settlement part of history, or the local colleges. Maybe you've done that too. People that are interested in history. You know, it's a great.
And that is a good idea.
Yeah.
And Julianne, we want to work with the local county parish right here and get the grades in either high schoolers or middle schoolers or even elementary students. And
Right.
Come to the museum. And,
Or even the scouts, like the Boy Scouts, people working on an Eagle Scout badge could, you know, do something with history, and then as part of that, come in and help or get involved.
Right. And so that is another thing that we're doing. And I have written to the school board once already, and he didn't answer my email, but I'm gonna get him again. And while we have Julianne here talking to us, let's not forget the people. Julianne lives in Springfield, Virginia, and here she is with us. And so we really have to, what can I say, what's the word? But we really are very happy that people from Virginia, and we have people in Texas, and Julius's relative in New Hampshire. Vermont. Okay, so we're not going to forget about y'all, Julianne, for all of the wonderful work that y'all do for us.
Yeah, and the thing that's neat here, and we don't think about it, but with this technology, they can join us here like they're here in the meeting. I mean, this is fascinating what we have today, and it's there, and it's not complicated. It looks good, and it really is a nice way to connect those people.
Same idea. Why don't we let these people know, our members, that they can join us by Zoom?
We
Yeah,
did.
We did. Yeah, it's all over the website, so.
And the letter.
We might need to, email them.
It was in the
I
letter.
tried to, it was in the letter, and I tried to get an email out, but I don't have a database.
One thing we may do, if everybody's in agreement, is obviously we're recording this, and Annette and I both, she does most of the video editing on our ministry work. We can edit this video down and we can put it on our website, so people who missed the meeting could listen to the meeting or see the meeting on really YouTube. And, or we could put it on some other, website hosting. So anyway, that's something we could do.
And then that way, other people would say, okay, oh, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
It gives them, encourages them more to join us.
So that's something we can look at.
They can see what we're doing and that we're doing something important, maybe
Right.
they will belong
Right.
or join in.
So we are very glad that we have people out there that are working with us. Julianne, that's you.
I'm glad to hear about the ramp. If you have any more problems with that, we'll be glad to help you with that further. So.
Well, the one that I'm leaning toward is he's on home, what do you call these? Can't even think of it right now, but anyway, he's
Habitat.
no, he's home advisor. Home advisor is a big thing out there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look at these bidders again and come up with the right bid, and that it will be taken care
Good.
Well, I think it's great that Fred has always been able to be with us, and being you're out of state, it's good you've been with us at all our meetings.
Oh, I'm not. You
Where
talking with me?
Where
You
is Fred?
talking to me?
Fred's in Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's a
in
board
Arkansas.
member.
Yeah, we do all of our board meetings via Zoom. Some of our members are outside of here and were able to join us.
Well, thank y'all so much for not only for getting the meeting, but for everything that you're doing for this association. Because, like I say, I'm not a Hungarian, but my heart's with you to help you any way I can. And I know my wife feels the same way. And thank you so much.
It's wonderful that you keep up the culture. I mean, of Eastern European Hungarian culture. It's wonderful. It's, makes you proud. And Alex, I was talking to William Kovacs Smith. He changed the relatives changed their name from Kovacs to Smith. And he regrets that. He wishes it was Kovacs still. But he called me from Manitoba because Tivador had been up there first. And so now he wants to write a book about those four brothers. So here we're talking to Canadians, and you're in the South, I'm here in Virginia.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. So I had a nice conversation with him. So if my great uncle knew this, I think he'd be very proud to think that the Hungarians keep on moving on.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And what Julianne is talking about is that this Mr. Smith emailed me and is wondering about the Zborais, who is one of our founders here. And he lives in Canada, but he's interested in the founders. So I referred him to Julianne, and from what I understand right here, they have connected. These same, and about 4 or 5 years ago, we also had a group from Vancouver to ask us about this Zborais. So Hungarians like to connect with each other.
Right.
Will they be doing the harvest dance or anything again, or is that too big, or?
No, it's not too big. And yes, it is too big because, again, we talk about membership. I went to a meeting. You weren't there. I went to a meeting of the Cultural Association who puts this on. And you had to guess how many members were there? 4 of us.
Well, last night it was 3 of us.
3 of you. I didn't know.
That's because Alex
It's
didn't
the
make it.
Alex, you weren't there, you weren't the 4th person.
Anyway, so I don't know what has been decided, but if more don't show up and take an interest in this.
It's too hard, yeah, okay. Well, that is, unless there's more new business, that's everything we had on the agenda, so.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. I know some of us have driven a ways to get here. This is important. You're not already a dosie, consider it. We need more. And any ideas, please bring them forward. Please bring them forward. When's our next board meeting?
It's not set yet, but we'll have to set it.
Before we close, I see that Donna Bengas is here. Donna, you emailed me about the property owners to the north of the museum. I have not responded to that yet.
Okay.
But we have to talk about it and see where we go with that. Or do you have any more information? Does this relative live in the area?
Lives behind the museum. That's John, Ernie, Uncle John's store.
Okay.
Because there's some tall trees here that could fall on the museum, so that's what we're talking.
Linda's Uncle John's,
Okay, well,
Mike's sister.
yeah, your cousin.
Yes,
You and I need to go talk to her.
be glad to.
Good.
Okay, any more business? Then I need a
All
motion.
the business,
I make a motion to adjourn.
all in favor?
We appreciate y'all joining us by Zoom. We are adjourned. Thank y'all.
Thank
Y'all
you.
have a great
Thank
rest of the
you.
week.
Thank you, David.
Glad we were able
Thank
to
you.
meet you all. Thank you.
Hi, Dad.
Bye.
Thank you. Okay.